to work with the private owner to obtain a different kind of access.
Okay.
But there's nothing, we didn't have a direct solution for that particular issue.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, under the vertical obstructions section,
Yes.
it's a recommendation to consider developing a land conservation and a mitigation bank. That was probably explained at one of the meetings that I missed, but what would it, could you be an example of a mitigation bank?
You often can use a mitigation bank to protect areas. If you have a landowner, and this is all willing landowners doing this. There's nothing in here about a condemnation of any kind. But if you have a willing owner that wants to enter into a conservation easement where they say we're not going to develop in this area, they want to just enjoy their forest, their home isn't in the overflight area, and they protect vertical obstruction within that corridor, that could be a conservation use. The Army also has what they call the Army Compatibility Use Buffer Program, ACUB, where they do provide funds to different installations to help purchase conservation easements to help protect areas that are for critical to operations. And so that could be used for that kind of protection.
What was the name of that again?
ACUB, Army Compatible Use Buffers.
Okay, thank you. I lost that.
I'm good.
Great. Anyone else? Good, we can take a motion.
I'll move to accept the East Lyme Stones Ranch Military Reservation and Camp Niantic Joint Land Use Study Executive Summary, Stones Ranch Military Reservation and Camp Niantic Joint Land Use Study, and the Stones Ranch Military Reservation and Camp Niantic Joint Land Use Background Report, and to support the strategies described therein to encourage the compatibility of Stones Ranch Military Reservation, Camp Niantic, and the surrounding areas within their influence.
Second?
Okay, motion's been made and second. Any further comments?
We have a second?
Yes.
Drop my pen. Any other comments? Nothing. Thank you. Thank you very much, the Matrix Design Group. You were professionals. You came in here with a great plan, well publicized, and I think you brought great value and service to the town. I thank you very much.
We'd like to thank the town for their participation and for Gary's great assistance in making this happen from the grant side.
And Gary, thanks you as well. You couldn't be here this evening. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Great. Thank you all. Thank you again. Safe travels. Back to Florida tonight, or? Yeah, really?
Wow.
Oh, dear. They just got a snow dump in Vail. We'll move. We're kind of casual tonight. You can tell it's Christmas season. 2B is the appointment of police commission members. This is obviously the first major step in our, well, maybe the second. First was voting on it, but the first major step in moving toward independent police is to put a commission together with the town. This board solicited the public for resumes and applications. People were encouraged to give their resumes directly to the first selectman's office or through their prospective town committees, Republican or Democrat town committees, who also made recommendations. This board has been very sensitive to the fact that first of all, we're trying to make this apolitical, non-political, which all our boards and commissions are anyway, but with an appointment that is balanced, where we have Republicans, Democrats, and unaffiliated folks too that are not mindful of any political party. And we have received almost 20 applications for this board, this commission, 20. And it's been really an outstanding response. Frankly, 90% of them are qualified or overqualified with police background or business background or that kind of, just a variety of background, but all, my gosh, at least 90%, if not all of them, could easily qualify to be on the police commission and serve this town well. So I applaud each and every one of the people who stepped up. I will encourage those who are not already engaged in politics or town commissions and boards to not let this be your last try. The police step up. We always have openings on boards and commissions, whether appointed or elected, and this shows a great willingness of our town folks to get involved. Obviously, this is an important commission, and moving forward, as this is the first time we've ever done this. So we have two sets of commission members we have to appoint tonight. We have to appoint terms, folks to fulfill a term that will last until January of 18, so really just 1 year and a month, and another group that will last 2 years longer than that, so January of 2020. All these commission members will be eligible to be reappointed for one more term, as per the rules that we set forth. So we're, I guess what we should do, and we were kind of trying to huddle, how do we do this? We never really started a commission before and started with, well, I'm on the commission as the first selectman, and whoever is the first selectman would be on the commission. So I guess we'll take nominees for terms to expire, I think it's January 1st, 2018. So any motions, any nominees?
I'll move to appoint Thomas W. Gardner of 24 Sunrise Trail, Niantic, to the commission for a period through January 1st of 2018. I think Tom obviously showed his abilities and his commitment when he made that presentation to us a couple months ago. He was very succinct. He brings a really great background with his Secret Service background, and there's no question in my mind he'll be an extremely valuable member of the commission.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and second for Tom Gardner, expired January, and I'm going to put this on his resume, January 1st, 2018. But I know Mrs. Stevens is also taking copious notes here. So, all in favor?
Normally, we have an
Yes,
address to include with
I think
these. We
she-
should have the
I think she-
secretary do that.
Okay.
The administrative assistant fill that in
Fill that in.
with the address. We usually have an address.
Yeah,
in
I
there.
He
mentioned.
did announce
I
it.
didn't.
You've got the
I
address?
I mentioned the
He
address.
didn't
24
announce it, and
Sunrise
I-
Trail.
And I have him here for
Thank
me
you.
to reference.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion for Tom Gardner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Is there another motion for another candidate?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Mark H. Powers, to serve until January 1, 2018. I believe we're all familiar with Mr. Powers. He served as a state rep for the 37th District for many years. He's a lifelong resident of the town and has expressed a strong interest in serving on this commission.
Second.
I have a motion and second for the Honorable Senator Mark Powers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, we have two members, and we have one more to fill for that, the January 2018 slot.
I'll move to appoint Anthony Buglione. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes.
I think
Okay.
so.
For the 1-year term. He has a background in criminal justice. He was a resident state trooper in the past. He's also a business owner in town, and I think he's well qualified.
I'll second it.
It's been seconded. Yes, I noticed that he was a detective in Major Crime Squad and a resident state trooper, and also assigned to Troop F, and had quite a lengthy career, and also owns Wait No Longer here in East Lyme. All in favor of Anthony Buglione, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, we have fulfilled the term, the positions for the January 1st, 2018 expiration date. The next group is it's the first Monday of 2020. Do we have that date? January 8th? Can't be the 8th. What am I looking at?
Did-
You know, I have a lot of paperwork. And I'm sure it's right here, right? Oh, yeah. January 6th. Can't be the 8th because it's the first Monday. The ordinance is written as the first Monday of 2020. So we have 3 members to fill. 3 positions to fill with members. How's that? It's better said.
This is to 2020?
This
The
is the
next-
2020, and we have 3 positions to fill. Any nominees?
I think Dean.
Yeah. I nominate Joseph Perkins. This is for the 3-year position. He's a Connecticut Police Academy graduate. He served in the Connecticut State Police from 1968 to 1990, and he was a resident state trooper, so he's a very well-qualified individual with a lot of depth and experience.
Second?
Motion had been second for Joe Perkins, known by many in the town.
Just so I can imagine, I've known Joe. He's not only a dedicated public servant in the area of public safety, but also served his country for extensive period in the Connecticut National Guard, retiring as a 1-star general.
Aye, aye. All in favor of Joe Perkins, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Ayes have it. So far, so smooth.
Oh, I'll nominate Daniel Price of 205 Upper Patagonia Road, East Lyme, Connecticut, to the commission for a period to expire January of 2020.
Second?
And it's been seconded. Mr. Price was a former selectman in town and is committed to service in the town and has an extensive background and a direct link to our military in southeastern Connecticut, so an interesting mix here. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Terrific. I think there's only one more position.
I'll move to approve Giancarlo D'Angelo. He has a background, he's a military officer, has a background in political science, has done a lot of budgets in his career, which I think would be good on this commission.
And I'll
Second.
second that because he's a former student.
Well, that's,
Is that right?
That's right.
Oh.
Well, you get him started, don't you? Okay, it was seconded by Mr. Siri?
yes.
Okay.
Actually, I'll go with Mrs. Hardy because it is a former student, so I'll defer to her. We both said it at the same time.
Oh, aye, aye. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay.
Just-
We have,
Just
Now,
like,
we consider that the first selectman position is an automatic.
yes, but I'll take a nomination. No, it's part of the ordinance that the first selectman will sit on this commission as a member, which would be a direct link. Therefore, we won't need an ex officio as well, because the first selectman will be there to be the liaison for the commission. So there we go. We have 6 people serving our town. We have 12 more who offered, and I do sincerely appreciate those offers and qualified people. And these terms, well, there's like I said, there's other positions, and we hope that we hope to see these folks engage in our town in the future. I will be calling the 6 now commissioners in the morning and trying to set up the first meeting. Hopefully the beginning of next week, we'll have these folks sworn in by the town clerk or by the first selectman before they serve. And we will be posting, these are of course public minutes and public meetings, and we'll be posting an agenda once we've determined when the first meeting will be, and then we'll be setting up a regular meeting schedule, which will also be available at the town clerk's office and the town website.
and just one thing
Anything
too,
else?
just wanted to thank Mr. Larkin, Pat Larkin's here tonight, who applied, and he's a fantastic member of the Parks and Rec Commission. He's always volunteering anytime there's any type of activity, the 5K runs and that. He's the first one there to volunteer, and we hope
Sure is.
he stays there and hopes stays very active because he's a very, very valuable member of the community. And thank you, Pat, for applying.
Aye, aye. I don't know why I'm saying that a lot tonight. Next on our agenda, appoint the PT, part-time deputy fire marshal, Edward Sargent. We have some folks that will be stepping down as fire marshals. We have a whole team of deputy fire marshals who work under the fire marshal to do various tasks in our town. These are part-time status, they don't get benefits, and they only get paid when they work.
I'll move to appoint Edward Sargent of 7 Chris Allen Drive, East Lyme, Connecticut, to serve as a part-time deputy fire marshal for the town of East Lyme through January 6th of 2020.
Second?
Any comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Terrific. 2D, appoint the fire investigator, Eric Quinn.
Move to appoint Eric Quinn of 19 Hillwood Drive, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as a fire investigator for the town of East Lyme through January 6th of 2020.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and it's been seconded heartedly. Any comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Terrific. Next is the approval of the ticket or click it or ticket enforcement grant of $8,000. Mr. Masick, Sergeant Masick, you have worked not a double but a quadruple or something like that. I don't know that you've gotten much sleep in the last 48 hours. You're an amazing servant of our town, a first responder, great sergeant, and it's great to work with you, sir. Do you want to just go over this real quickly? I know that we are eligible for these grants. We're going to be eligible for a lot more grants in the future when we go independent. We're amazed at the amount of grants that we're going to be able to get. So, kind of just go over this very quickly. We've seen this before.
Yes, let me just pull up that proper one. So the click it or ticket is, we get this yearly, comes in 2 separate waves. We just did wave 1. It's 100% reimbursable to the town, so it doesn't cost the town anything. So we were awarded $8,000 this year. I've been able to get that money to go up from previous year's awards. So that just covers wave 51 and wave 52, which will begin in May. And again, that's 100% reimbursable. I had just normally, it runs in conjunction with the DUI grant, but they fell apart this year from DOT. They came out at separate times, so that's why we're here tonight for this one.
Perfect.
I'll move to approve a special appropriation in the amount of $8,000 to budget account 01-25-216-100-519 grant overtime and corresponding revenue account 01-04-400-409 police overtime grants to participate in the click it or ticket enforcement waves 51 and 52 and forward to the Board of Finance for approval.
Second?
Motion is second. Any comments?
I remember participating in doing that in wave 1.
Well, we're up to wave 51
Yes.
and 2, so what does that mean?
Yeah.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? You might as well stay there, Sergeant, because the next, as you know, is the $13,350 Connecticut DOT Comprehensive DUI grant. Sir.
Okay, and again, this is the DUI grant that we have our officers out there doing saturation patrols. So these are above and beyond the 3-man minimum that we have hired nightly for our shifts. This is a 75-25 split. 75% of it's federal funds. The town is on the 25% side. So we do have the overtime grant line for this. The reason I'm asking for the extra money is, again, through work, the town's been awarded more money this year than in previous years toward the DUI grant. Because of our numbers, our officers are out there doing enforcement, and so we're allotted a little bit more. The reason we're going this way is the grant line, just to keep and maintain a positive balance instead of falling into the negative, because what occurs is the grant's broken up into 4 quarters. I do reimbursements per 4 quarters. They're not every calendar, say 4th quarter, 3 months. I do have one time frame that is actually 5 months out, and that gets going into the spring, beginning of summer. So there's a lot more shifts at that time. There's a lot more activity out there, just so we don't hammer that overtime grant line and basically have to do budget transfers. If we were able to just put a little bit more money in there, we'd maintain that and just be one less thing finance department has to worry about.
That's always a good thing.
Move to approve a special appropriation in the amount of $13,350 to budget account 01-25-216-100-519, grant overtime, and revenue account 01-03-300-006, state grant DUI for the comprehensive DUI enforcement grant 0197-0722-CA, and forward to the Board of Finance for approval, and this will require a town meeting.
Second.
Okay, motion second. We discussed just a little bit of this, that not only does, of course, we're getting DUI, people drinking under the influence off the streets, but it puts cops on the streets.
Correct.
So we're getting other enforcement when we're out there, just
Right.
simply pulling people over. In this program, also, we have just cops on the street. It gives us some extra muscle out there, and weekly I get phone calls at the First Selectman's office talking about speeding in our neighborhoods, people going through stop signs and not paying attention and putting other people at danger. This is another way that we can increase the enforcement in our town.
Absolutely. This with the 3-man minimum that we have on, the guys we've got a very heavy call volume ratio now. So when they're either at a call or investigating something, at least this does put those people out there. One of the things I would like to point out is that after once we do depart from the state program, I was speaking to Representative of DOT the other day. What will be afforded to us is we can get 2 bodies per shift, unlike the 1 body per shift that we have now as far as the DUI activity goes.
Great.
Excellent.
Excellent. We have a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Wonderful.
Before I step off, could I just recognize one of our citizens real quick?
I
Or is that not
think
this time?
with all the work that you do for our town, although it's not on the agenda, please do that.
Okay, just as it is December 7th and it is Pearl Harbor Memorial, I would just like to recognize Mr. Floyd Welsh. He's a 95-year-old World War II veteran who was at Pearl Harbor that day. And today he is out in Hawaii for that celebration. And this is what they are calling one of the last memorials of this type because it is the 75th year. So I just wanted to give him some special recognition.
I'm so happy you did that. Thank you. Thanks for bringing up Floyd's name. Floyd Welsh?
Welsh.
Yes.
Well,
Wonderful.
Yeah, he was the guest of honor at the Veterans
During
Day
the
this
Veterans
year.
Day on the green.
Just wonderful. Going out for the 75th, and which should be the final one, they're saying. So thank you for bringing that up, Sergeant. You have a good night. Get some sleep.
Okay.
No, he's working he's still working
Yeah,
for a
well,
little while.
I mean,
Please
at
don't.
8 a.m., get some sleep. We need to approve the bonding resolution of $398,444 for planning and design modifications and well upgrades to well 1A and well 6. This is an item that the Water and Sewer Department has approved. We are going to make some improvements to those wells. Of course, all bonding comes through the town, so it sits in our lap. Our Public Works Director, Joe Bergaz, here to give us some insight on this, maybe some background. He also, of course, serves the Water and Sewer Commission and Department, does a lot of work over there. So, Joe, what can you tell us about what well 1A and what wells, why they need to be upgraded?
Well, what the issue is we're experiencing higher higher levels of iron and manganese in our well 1A. Well 1A is the one that's down by the Little League fields, behind the fields over by the middle school. It's actually our largest producing well, and it does have filtration, but not for iron and manganese. It's not a health issue per se, but it causes discoloration of water, which we get a lot of complaints. We're trying to provide the highest quality water to the people in East Lyme. We're also having to do a lot more flushing. There's a lot of issues with this discoloration and this particles. So we're trying to move forward. What the project involves is piping from that well 1A, which is, as you said, behind the baseball fields, through the well, not through the fields, but through between the fields, along that the lower middle school access road to the well 6, which is the one over by the youth football fields. But it involves expanding the building, putting in more the big filters. So it's the total project's a $3 million project, but it won't be constructed for another about 2 years. But this right now is for the design process to get the thing going, so we can get it ready for bid in the next year and to move forward. So As Mr. Nickerson said, that the Board of Selectmen and the town is the bonding agent for the water department, so that's why we're here. It's been vetted, but fully vetted and approved by the Water and Sewer Commission, and we're looking to move forward.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Bergat or myself as chair?
So who will prepare for the bids? Do we do the design work
No.
ourselves? Does
No,
it?
this is highly specialized.
That's what I figured.
Tie and bond in the package, which I'm not sure what you have, but the package
No.
that,
We have the
okay.
You don't get
Yeah.
the cool things
Okay.
like that.
There's already a contract worked out with, we had to go through the QBS, Qualified Base Selection process, that allows us to go forward with these things. We vetted that, we sat in interviews, we selected a consultant who was Ty and Bond, who's done a lot of work for us already. They're the ones that did the interconnection. And the scope, everything's all set. Then they worked out the amount, and that's why we're here today. So Ty and
Okay,
Bond
so
is the
this-
one.
Okay,
that's
this is what's going to fund that initial design,
The design.
development piece. Okay.
Correct. It's going to bring it up to the doorstep of construction.
Okay, and the time frame for this, Joe?
We're looking by the end of this time next year to be winding down the design, so we could put the bids into that, it's time's flying around, to 2018, so the
Mhm.
construction would be done 2019.
Wow.
So we're getting close to the year 2020, it's kind of scary, but, yeah.
Okay, and the technology that would be involved, it's a more enhanced filtration system?
Yes, yes. Well, and it's running it through. It's a lot of the same the treatment that we have at the well 6 right now, but we have to pipe it over there and expand that system. It's a green filtration. They're just, if you've ever been in that building, it's huge filters. They're big sand filters that it goes through. So unfortunately, with the water business and the sewer business, everything's expensive, and that's why it's a big job and it's specialized.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Resolve. Oh.
No, well, I'll just say, I know I've spoken to people who have had issues with that discoloration, so I know they're going to be very happy that this is moving forward.
Correct. It needs to be done.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry, Kevin, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. Resolved that the resolution entitled Resolution Appropriating $398,444 for the planning and design for modifications and upgrades to the East Lyme Well 1A and Well 6 water treatment plant project and authorizing the issuance of $398,444 bonds of the town to meet said appropriation, impending the issuance thereof, making of temporary borrowings for such purpose, a copy of which is here attached hereto is hereby adopted and recommended for approval by the Board of Finance and the legal voters of the town at town meeting.
Second?
Motion is second. Any further comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Terrific. We'll amend the expenditure from the Nicholas Parahouse account for the Commission on Aging regarding the Senior Learning Lab. We generally don't, we encourage our department heads to kind of really dig deep and make sure that they get the right number when they come forward. And we just missed the mark on this one a little bit. Kathy Wilson is our Commission on Aging department head, our senior center department head. She does amazing work with very little resources and a very, very tight budget. Very, very honored to work with her. She did miss the mark on this one. She asked for $1,400 for the creation of the Senior Learning Lab network lab, and she really needs a couple thousand dollars total, I think, from $1,400 to $2,000. So we're just a little off there, but we need to get the $2,000 approved from the Parahouse account, which is there to enhance the senior center. So if you could maybe make a motion?
Move to approve the amended amount of $2,000 for the creation of a senior learning network lab from the Nicholas Parahouse account as requested by the Commission on Aging.